Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at @AdamTorres to keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Daniel McGregor on the line, and he's VP of Finance and Operations over at DearDoc. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam, thanks for having me.
So I'm excited to get more into what you're doing over at DearDoc and how you're helping your clients. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career in business?
Yeah, so just to give a little background, I was born and raised in Southern California, San Diego specifically. Really pursued the business route primarily due to my dad's background. He's a partner and a CFO at a small construction company that's based out of San Diego. And that really gave me the inspiration to really get into the education of business. So from my undergrad, I went to Cal State Northridge, got my degree in finance and a minor in economics. After graduating, I got a internship at his company doing accounting, where in parallel I began getting my certificate in accounting at San Diego State. And then I got my first job at my first full-time job at a fintech startup based out of San Diego called Renovate America. And there I moved up the ranks and from analyst to heading up the analytics and predictive analytics for the risk and compliance department of that company. And I'm actually in the process of finishing up my MBA at USC. I walk in March. And so that's kind of like how I got into business and how from Renovate America I ended up getting recruited and started working at DearDoc, where I am right now. And yeah, so I've been here for the past 8 or 9 months.
That's awesome. And so I like your background. I mean, obviously you're going to get your MBA. You've worked your way up the ranks. You saw what your dad was doing in finance for a construction company. I mean, I see your path very, very linear there. And that being said, there's some, younger entrepreneurs and/or, people just graduating right now that aren't quite as far along as you listening. And what kind of advice would you give them really on building their career as you're doing now?
I mean, as I was going into, education was always very important to me, and I'm staying focused on that. While it's not the most necessary, it is a very good area for networking, and network is your net worth, as I've heard some people say, being that you never know who you're going to meet, where they're going to go in their life, and whether they're going to contact you later on, that's going to help you get recruited. And that's actually how I ended up at DearDoc. Is actually the CEO is one of my best friends from high school, and he was the one who contacted me when he first started to help him grow this business from the ground up.
Wow, that's a great story. Let's switch it up a bit. So tell us more about DearDoc, please.
Yeah, so DearDoc is a digital marketing firm and online optimization service for doctors. And so what we do is we help doctors convert their online traffic into leads and actual scheduled appointments, which in turn grows their practice and grows their revenue. And what we've learned with our clients and everything is doctors, they're very well educated, they're very skilled in their trade, but they've never received the business education on how to grow their practice and really continue to bring in customers. And that's where DearDoc really brings value to doctors, is our ability and our proven ability and our different tools that we offer them that helps convert their online traffic. Like we have an AI chatbot, we have reputation management, we have review generators that help them get more online reviews and let the public know what they do and how well they do it. And then we're continually adding various products that we see valuable and to help doctors. Like beginning of next year, we'll be implementing our online paid ad services, so we'll be managing the SEM and SEO of doctors. And yeah, so DearDoc started in May, actually, or not May, in April. And that's, from there, we've been able to grow. We've obtained over 700 doctors in this short period. We started in the CEO's apartment for the first 4 months, and then we've been able to scale, and now we have an office down in Lower Manhattan, the financial district, and our team has grown to a little over 40.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And I get it. And I think a lot of doctors, and I know this is going to change from person to person or practice to practice, I should say, but what do you find are some of the common themes that arise for a lot of these doctors when you get in there and kind of bring on a new client of things they're doing wrong and they could do better?
Yeah, so our primary product is our AI chatbot, and that's a bot that we put on their website that maintains constant communication 24/7, 7 days a week. And what that really allows for is, instead of having to have an administrative person that's answering the phones, and that's limited on hours of the day that they're working, our bots there 24/7, being able to answer general questions, let them schedule appointments, and really take away the multiple points of contact. And where somebody browsing in, if they find this doctor that they want to set up an appointment with, our chatbot enables them to set up this appointment really efficiently, and then the doctor is able to get this new client in without having to have the overhead and staff 24 hours a day to take those phone calls and schedule that. And then also a lot of this reputation management and making sure that the doctor's presence online is, really marketed correctly, because you can be in business for 10 years, do an amazing job at what you do. Your people actually go to that doctor, know they're doing great,
Mm-hmm.
but are they actually getting reviews on Google and letting the world know that how great they are? And that's this day and age, that's where people most likely turn to, validate their decision. Like, oh, how many reviews does this person have? How good are they? Like, do they have above a 4.5 stars, or do they have below? Do they have only 5 reviews, or do they have like 100 reviews? People are more likely to go to a business that has 4.5 and 100 reviews, and it just kind of builds that innate trust before even calling or scheduling an appointment.
Man, that makes so much sense, and I get it. And once upon a time, reputation management and things like that for doctors, it was just, referral or, but now that there's this online presence, it's like you can't really neglect it. If somebody looks at 2 different practices and one has 100 referrals, 4.5 or better, and the other one has 2 reviews, not referrals, and they have 2 reviews on Google, it's probably pretty likely that the person is going to dig into those 100+ referrals and make a decision and spend a little bit more time considering whether they're going there versus the other practice. It's just really straightforward. And the way I explain it to people is, I'm like, when you go on Amazon or when you go at something, do you look at reviews? And everybody 9 times out of 10 is going to say yes. It's like, so why wouldn't somebody look at reviews on your business? What makes you any different? Right? Exactly. So it's like when you tell somebody that, they're like, oh, well, would you? Do you think that you're the only one that's smart enough to make buying decisions based off of reviews? That's what they're there for. So you got to think about these things. And you have to be systematic about it. It's not an accident that they get great reviews, or that, you have to ask. You have to do things like you're doing with reputation management in a great ethical way to make sure that people know the work you're doing, because it's not assumed. So Daniel, if somebody's listening to this and they have a practice and they want to learn more about DearDoc, what's the best way for them to reach out and get more info?
The best way is to actually go on our website. We have a website that kind of explains our entire suite of products, and you can actually see examples of the different tools that we offer. And that website is www.getdeardoc.com. So GETDEARDOC.com.
Fantastic.
And that's where you're going to be able to schedule a conversation and a consultation to really get a deep dive into what we can provide for your practice.
Perfect. Well, hey, Daniel, really appreciate you tuning in and coming on the show and sharing more about all the great work that you're doing over at DearDoc. And to the audience, as always, thank you for listening. If you got a lot of value out of this, which I hope you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Speaking of reviews, leave a review on the Apple iTunes store. You got to ask, right, Daniel? And do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And thanks again for coming on the show, Daniel.